Hey, let's talk about participation of youth and a break that soccer might catch with this whole concussion thing. That
Mm-hmm.
we had one person at one time on the program say that football participation is going to go down. That was his prediction because he felt that parents want to keep their kids safe and football does have a concussion problem. Is that something that will play into soccer's growth?
I mean, that's something I could see that being an issue. I think that, I don't know the statistics for the other sports. I know that the most recent statistic I saw was that there are 4 million kids who are registered youth soccer players, ages 9 to like 18 in the United States. So in the youth level, there's tremendous interest in the sport, and particularly for girls. But for guys, too, I think that the challenge has been, and I think that, too, will we see because of some of the issues that are going on, will we see with these concussions, which is really becoming a big issue. I mean, I go back to thinking about, Barry Sanders, and because I grew up in Michigan when he retired, talking about one of the reasons he retired was just from the physical beating he took from playing football. And what this news is going to have kids and parents feel about having their kids play football. Will those kids start playing soccer? I mean, there's a potential for it. There are the translation of that into sort of success at the professional level faces a lot of hurdles in the United States, which we can get into if you want to talk about.
Andrew Lewellen joining us here on Regionally Speaking Sports Fridays just wrote an article, The Future of U.S. Soccer, Part 1, the high school debate. He also writes a blog, andyspitch.com, talking about soccer. Andrew, kids out there want to be the best. You get involved in a sport. You don't necessarily get involved in a sport to go out and have fun and, hang out with your friends. Well, maybe at first you do. But after a while, you stick with it. You go through, the ups, the downs, the losing, the winning, the training. You go through all of this because you want to be better. You eventually you want to be the best. And, we've kind of copied the Euro model in terms of kids and their training and what they're doing now with the United States. These kids, are essentially some of the best kids at their age in the United States playing soccer. And why is it then that level of talent can't really seem to continue on to the next level? Why does it always seem like there's these really talented kids? Take Freddie Adu, for instance, who's this phenom, and all of a sudden he kind of disappears. He dissipates into the thin air of the vast soccer universe.
Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of reasons, and I think one of them, I kind of approach this topic from my own personal experience. Having played soccer growing up and played in college, which I kind of tried to leave out of the first article and the next few articles I'm going to write. But I think one of them is really that for being a professional athlete takes a tremendous amount of drive and discipline and desire, and that's something that I talked to a lot of former professional players for this series, and that's something that I really got from them. That playing professional sports, being that successful, yes, it's about your talent and everything, but ultimately, I think it really comes down to your desire and your drive, and I think you can see that in other sports, whether it's Michael Jordan or LeBron James or another guy I think about is Barry Rice, Kobe Bryant. The guys who really become the absolute best players, are guys who just want to be the best, and that is a mental component and an emotional component that not everybody has. So it's one thing to be a very talented athlete when you're 15, 16, 17, and it's a very different thing to become an athlete who has the discipline and desire to carry that through to, say, 18, 19, 20, whether you're in college or you go professional, and then into your early 20s and deal with the difficulty and the frustration of what it takes to become a professional. I think that goes for every sport. That's why, in most American sports, basketball, football, whatever, you got guys coming out of college and succeeding who weren't, top prospects in high school. Michael Jordan was cut from his varsity basketball team or whatever when he was a freshman or sophomore, and look what he became. So I think a lot of it is it's a nature To me, it's really nature versus nurture. And I think that is the biggest component of that personal drive and desire to fight and do whatever you can to succeed more than your sort of innate ability that you have.
All right, partner, you've got the floor here, okay? You've got a kid sitting here listening to you. He's a football, basketball guy. I got to throw hockey in there because I'm a big fan. But you want to talk him into being more into soccer. What would be your number one argument?
What would be my number one argument? Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. To be honest, I mean, I don't know I'm not trying to dodge the question. I don't know that I would talk him into it. I mean, because you have to want to do it. And like anything, it doesn't matter if you're playing a sport or you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a musician, you have to want to do it. As far as the reason to play soccer, I mean, the reason that I loved it, I mean, I think that there's a certain amount of sort of joy and fun that goes with the game of playing soccer that doesn't exist in a lot of sports. I think that's one of the reasons why it can be boring for American sports fans, because it's a different game. But the sort of diversity of ability in soccer, the technical ability with physical ability, with sort of the tactical understanding of the game is a really amazing thing to be a part of. And but I couldn't really say, again, I don't mean to dodge the question. I mean, I couldn't really say that it's better or worse. I think it's just like what people really want to do. And in reality, it comes back to kind of that last question that what I was talking about. Whatever sport you want to do, whatever thing you want to do, I mean, you have to want to do it more than anybody else, and that's what's going to make you successful. So if you want to play basketball and that's where you want to do it, do it. The one thing that I would say is the money factor, which I think is a big part of why we don't see as many, why there are issues with professional soccer in the U.S. As much as people say, well, there's more money in other sports, I mean, I don't think that, sports, as long as any other career, I don't think you can just sort of dangle money in front of somebody and say that's the reason that they're going to be successful. Because I think in the long run, money is not the reason that people can stick with being a professional athlete. It's too hard, it's too strenuous, it's too difficult to just sort of be in it for the money.
Well, there are a lot of guys in Europe getting paid a lot of money to play the sport, as there are here in the United States as well. I mean, Sidney Crosby gets paid. He just cashed out with a $100 million payday for 12 years to play hockey. And it's something that if you want to do it and you're good at it, eventually you will be compensated. You'll be rewarded for your skill, but you cannot expect the money when you don't have the drive and the effort. Andrew, very quickly before we let you go, Spain and Italy. Spain and Italy. Who do you got? Who wins it all?
I'd honestly, who wins it all? I mean, I'd like to see Italy win. As much as Spain is, they're a quality team and everything. And tactically, they're very exciting. Spain's victory yesterday, I don't know if you watched the game, was really exciting. I mean, the goal that their forward Mario Balotelli scored, their second goal, was just, I mean, just like the power and the energy in that goal. I mean, that's what you get really excited about for soccer. It goes back to that first question: what's it going to take? I mean, when you see moments like that, I mean, that is the physical ability to do that is just remarkable. And I was just excited to see Italy come out and play like that, and I'd like to see him win on Sunday.
They knocked off Germany. Spain beats Portugal in the semifinals as well. So the final. So you're taking the Italians over the Spaniards. Although I guess maybe Spain would be a nice little boost to the ego if they could win it, only to go ahead and alleviate some of their financial woes in Europe at this moment. Andrew, we want to thank you very much. Part 2. When is part 2 coming out, and what is part 2 about?
Part 2 should be out this week, Monday or Tuesday, I think, and that's going to be a little bit about sort of a little bit of history going back to the 1990 World Cup, and particularly a goal that was scored to qualify the U.S. for that World Cup, which I really think kind of changed things for the sport in this country. So that's what it'll be about. Should be out next week.
The article is on Grantland.com. It's The Future of U.S. Soccer Part 1, The High School Debate. It's from Andrew Lewellen. He also writes a blog, Andy's Pitch, You can find him on Twitter at Andy H. Lew, L-E-W. And Andrew, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to go ahead and join us on Regionally Speaking Sports Fridays and help kind of clear up some of the soccer issues that we have here in the United States.
All right. Thanks again. I appreciate it, guys.